Hello,
Hello.
hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of Cafecito for Two.
For two.
For two,
Actually,
that's
it's
right.
for three today, okay?
Yeah, we have an exclamation mark right there. And thank you. And if this is the first time you are connecting with us, either through our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, let me introduce myself. This is my amazing wife, Christina, and I'm
Hello.
Javier. We are the authors of Boundless Love, Healing Your Marriage Before It Begins. And we also are the founders of Boundless Love Inc., which is a nonprofit ministry. And our whole purpose is to bring God in the center of your relationship and creating life changing marriages. So
Yes.
thank you for
Yes,
watching
yes.
today. We are so excited to be here with you and share with you our guests that we have today and see if we can get some conversations, some comments, some questions
From the
going-
audience.
From the audience.
Yes, feel
Great.
free to put those in the chat and participate.
And on the
we love
comments
that.
as well. So today we wanted to touch on a topic that Christina and
I love this topic.
definitely it's a topic that I think is evolving, and I think is every 2 years, right? This topic really evolves, and when people ask us, right, we're like, all right, we're in our close to
We're
our,
on the edge of
on
our
the
40s.
edge
We're
of-
like this
on our
on the
40s.
edge.
So people say, well, how is it right now? How you doing?
dating specifically.
That's specifically dating. So we're going to talk about dating because there's so many things that are happening in the way people date these days, that people that connect with each other and kind of see their similarities, their values, and their beliefs. So we have an amazing guest today. We have
LL.
who is an amazing author. She published
Yes.
many books, and we're going to
And
talk.
one more's coming.
That's right. She's going to tell us all about that. And the book that we're going to talk about is Please Do Not Date Me, which is very exciting.
And I just want to say, as we're bringing in LL, that I think it's so awesome and important in our life story, right? Hey, hi, LL.
Hello, welcome.
Very
What I
glad
was
to be
just
here.
going to say, LL, is that I find it to be, your titles and your books, and I can't wait to learn more, but I find it to be so important in life to sometimes have experiences of what you don't want to then better understand what you do want, right? In a spouse or in a date or in a partner, whatever it is in life. So I love that you come at it, Please Don't Date Me, because I think so much of our society is kind of, right, like focused on look at me, date me. You want to. Yes, exactly. Well, you just said it. Obviously, you're the expert. But I just find it so refreshing to kind of take the power back, right? And switch it up.
Exactly.
So first of all, we are very grateful to have you here in our show. And if you can share with the audience your journey, right? How you got here.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you for having me. I guess I started writing. Well, I always loved to write, and I've always wanted to write, but it was a life-changing event that caused me to write and to focus more on what it is that I want at that particular time. And Please Don't Date Me. 100 Reasons Why came about because I was newly single and I was running across people who were not honest about either their situation or if they were married or not. And so I said, well, if people would just say everything up front, please don't date me because I have these issues. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that book came from. So basically that's where the book came from.
Wow. So real life experience was the
Real
inspiration.
life experience. Plus I had girlfriends who were having their issues, and I used some stories from their situations and just put it all in a book. And it's basically a guide to look for things for people who are actually not ready to date, and just red flags basically.
Yeah.
Do you feel, LL, that most people, I mean, I know you're writing this and you're getting out there. Do you think that most people, or a lot of us on both sides of the dating fence, that we have a tendency to overlook the red flags, like we don't want to see them. Is that part of this?
It is part of it. And, when you want something, you ignore certain things because you want it. So once you
Mm.
start a relationship and somebody's new, especially if you've been single for a while and someone comes along who you think might have potential, you might let him or her get away with a little bit more and not notice as much because of where you are at that particular time in your life. So, but, those are lessons we learned. So, that's basically at that point that a lot of people run across. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Do you think, and like we said before in the show, we obviously Christina and I we're not in the dating scene anymore.
But we have our dating battle scars. Don't you worry.
But do you think the roles have shifted, right? Like we talked to a lot of younger couples. I talked to a couple the other day, and says, "Yeah, well, I'm always texting him. I'm always following up." And right, I grew up with the opposite. Like the man is the one that is doing the chasing, is doing the grabbing the lady's attention and always proving, himself,
attempting to prove.
Right? Do you think the roles have changed where women now are saying, okay, well, you're right, we're gonna do the same thing as men doing, or do you think men are being less proactive in the dating scene?
The roles are changing, and for some families the role has changed, and part of the reason is because women want to be equal. So you have women who want to go to work and be CEOs and be aggressive in their positions, and that's perfectly fine if you have a husband that's able to accommodate that position. Not all men want to be in that role, but they are changing. When you have a woman, as they say, that's an alpha woman and she's aggressive and she goes after what she wants, she might find somebody who can equally complement that, who is, the other half of whatever she needs. So yes, definitely the roles are changing as we speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. And when you, in your book, in terms of like the 100 reasons not to date me, do you feel that it gives people permission to not date? Because I think so much of, I interface a lot with college students. I teach at a community college, so I see young adults a lot. And so some of them talk about like the pressure of feeling like they have to be dating someone or seeing someone, or do you know what I mean? Like, whatever, in any kind of arrangement, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be a full blown. Do you feel like by sort of saying, don't date me, it's almost like you get to then allow yourself to be off the market and work on yourself?
Absolutely. And it holds you more accountability for who you choose. Because if you know everything about this person up front and you still choose to ignore red flags, then you're expecting to be hurt or lied to or deceived or whatever. Because that's what this book is about, is holding you accountable for who you choose. Here's volume 2, and I'm just going to read you
please.
Yes.
Love it.
Just an example. Reason number 24. If I'm okay with sharing you with others, please don't date me. I'm okay with sharing myself. Okay? Honesty in a relationship, whether you're exclusive or not, is very important. So you don't want to get with somebody who is openly sharing themselves with somebody else. They're telling you this up front. If you choose to still be with that person, you're holding yourself accountable for making that choice. That's what the book is pretty much is about. Sometimes it takes a while to get to know somebody. I mean, some people take 3 months to marry, some people take 10 years. It all depends on the people that are in the relationship. But even so, when you do marry somebody and finally make that decision, there are still things to learn. And that's just what it is,
Yeah.
Hopefully there are things we can deal with along the way.
Right. No, I love that you're talking about accountability, because if you're not accountable to yourself, right, then, I mean, it's almost like you're cheating on yourself.
Exactly. And, a lot of people do that for relationships. just to say they have somebody, you know?
That's actually really heartbreaking if you think about it, right? It's like that's very painful because people feel so compromised that they have to compromise themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this pandemic is bringing a light to a lot of relationships. You know, a lot of people work and spend 8 to 10 hours a day away from each other. Now they've been, you know, putting a home together to really find out about themselves in their
Yeah.
relationship.
That's right. There's no escape.
Exactly.
And the old issues are coming to the
They're
surface, and they're
bubbling
like,
up
I
to
thought
the surface.
I thought we dealt with this in the past. No, you haven't. What happened is you got busier and disconnected.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you can't overschedule it, right? Or you can't busy it away that and I'm sure too, it's those feelings, whatever they are, frustration or loneliness or whatever, it's in your face, so to say, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's so great too that you're talking about dating because I feel like, we do so much work around marriage and the relationship, but dating is really the foundation. Like that is what that's a huge piece of it. And we're Gen X and we're like on that cusp of like when we met, internet dating was just starting. It wasn't as like common currency, social currency as it is now. Do you feel that it's easier or more difficult, like dating online, or is it just, it is what it is? Like, or because I feel like, and this is just my assumption and I'm open to being totally disproven. I'm open to that, is like, can people, I mean, because I always wonder, like, then you can hide behind your profile. Like you said, you know what I'm saying? This dishonesty piece, is online dating like making that easier, do you think?
Let me just tell you, I think it's been like 5 or 6 years. I actually tried online dating twice and it was not good for me. Um, just just because of those reasons. People pretended to be something that they were not. And that's why it's like a fishing. You don't really know what you're going to get.
Mhm.
And I would prefer to meet somebody in person. At least you can get a vibe,
Right. Yes.
But in regards to just meeting somebody online, the impression that you get initially hasn't, for me, my experience just wasn't what it was when we met in person.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, because I think it's convenient or perhaps just tempting to kind of put up a facade or an image when in reality it gets checked right away, like face to face. You can't really pull that. You can't pull it that easily.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. And I think it's like, I mean, they did a study, and I think was 60% of the people lie in their resume, right? And this is your work resume, right? So imagine when you put in a profile on a dating site, if people are lying close to 60% in their resume, imagine how much are they gonna lie
on their
dating profile, right?
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Exactly.
So when you meet
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it happens. But then there are successful relationships. There have been
I know.
Absolutely.
gotten married and they worked it out, So I mean, I guess it's working well enough for it to still be happening and it's still growing. So
what would you say? I mean, I know you have 3 volumes. I love that you have like a 1, a 2, and then a 3 coming out in December.
yes.
What would you say for you as the writer or the author? What were your biggest ahas when you were writing these books?
I'm somewhat of an introvert, so I'm not really, I don't go out much. So it's, you would think that dating online would be the thing that I would choose, but I prefer to go out and meet people. But I think that now, I mean, it's just different all around. I mean, people are different. Look at what this pandemic is doing to everyone. I
Mhm.
mean, so it's just the changes that accommodate, a changed environment. I mean, how are we going to interact with each other
I know.
it's just a change that we're having to catch up to. But in regards to my experience with dating, I haven't. I just don't. And it's I mean, and it's because, and I want to, I would
Mhm.
like to, but now what it is right now is just, it doesn't make it convenient to just socially meet somebody,
Right,
Yeah.
You have to worry if they have corona or if
right.
something else is involved, or even now people are most people are in survivor mode right now. So
Right.
Absolutely. Yes.
a lot of things are happening at a rapid rate. So you really never know what you're getting at this point. So I'm kind of taking it easy and
Good for you.
on writing and my podcast and, just writing it out. And now I'm completely open to meet an amazing guy, of course.
Of course.
Of course. You never
But,
know. You never know.
What
exactly.
What is your advice? I spoke to a couple matchmakers and
Oh,
professional matchmakers, and I will hear their stories because Christine and I were like, "Hey, should we do a dating book?" And we were exploring that option, and we were talking. I said, "Well, let me talk to some professional matchmakers and see if they can share some other stories without revealing personal data." And one of the things they were telling me stories where there are individuals out there that they have this profile of a person they want to meet, and that person is so perfect, right? The right school, the right city they
the
grew
right
up,
zip
the
code.
right zip code, how high, how short, how big, how small. I mean, they have every single thing
Yeah, things I didn't even
layout.
think of, right? I was like,
And what happened
wow.
is these matchmakers are going, I mean, they're working really hard to find this
Mhm.
individual, and there's that frustration that, hey, that person that I need is not there. What is the advice that would you give someone like that they are setting up their expectations so high, right? From a physical aspect, I don't think it's from
Yeah,
a
not
spiritual and
emotional.
emotional aspect.
Well, when you set up those high expectations that are built on things that don't make relationships last, then you're eliminating a whole lot of people who have potential for you to have relationships with. Um, and I've met people and I've talked to women who have those lists and qualifications, and they are forever single because they can't. I mean, they, and it's great having expectations, it's great having standards, and of course, everyone should, but in reality, if it's love that you want, how important is the package? If it's really love, if you have somebody who accepts you and loves you as you are, I mean, how important is the package? But I get it, people are attracted to and they like what they like, but sometimes
Right.
when you have those expectations, you eliminate a lot of people who you could have relationships with.
Yeah. No, and it's funny because I think, when you're in a committed long-term relationship, these things that you're talking about, like honesty, transparency, openness, flexibility, right? These are things that you're called upon every day, if not every minute, right? I mean, it's like these are challenges around and you can see this in any relationship. It doesn't have to be, a romantic or a marital relationship, right? But if you really are committed to a relationship growing in any context, there's a lot of qualities, right, that have to be these foundational, I would say, pillars. And so I just find it so ironic sometimes, like what we're talking about today is like there's this way, it's kind of like we got it all backwards. Like
Right,
dating is all
right,
this smoke screen, right? And it's like a
exactly,
lot of posturing, but then when you actually get in the relationship, it's like, whoa, okay, the mask's off, like,
exactly.
and that's shocking, right?
It is. And when you have expectations, for instance, what if that person gets that exact person? Okay, physically, whatever, education,
Right.
background, money, or whatever, they get that person, and then what? How do you establish a relationship that's built on a foundation that's worth something when all this fictitious stuff is not what keeps relationships going, and it doesn't last from the start, but people don't realize that until they actually go through it and then realize, maybe I do need somebody to just love me, so.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think it's definitely when you talk about, being accepted and in love, it's very humble. It's not like you are feeling like you have to prove yourself to the other
Right,
person. Like if it's really sincere, authentic love, then you're not so fixated on all of that, right? It's not
right.
what it's about. Yeah.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
not. And it doesn't make relationships last.
No. Yeah, because let's be real, all those things fade.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. Absolutely. I
You
had
know?
a I had a rule when I was dating. I call it the martini moment, and I capture this.
Javi and his rules, so
I, I
funny.
capture I capture this from a movie, and the movie was a lady getting drunk.
She had
She
a
had
very strong martini in the
martini,
movie.
right? And I'm like, oh, that's a martini moment. So I will date somebody, and as soon as they have that, I will call it martini moment. I'll be like, okay, that's it. I'm not going any further because this is like really crossing the line. This is not a moment to
The red flag for
right.
him was like the
Like,
martini
okay, that's
moment.
it. It's like,
Exactly.
all right, how can you do this? How can you cross the line so bad, right? I understand that you're into a relationship, you trust each other, and something happened. We all make mistakes, right?
Right.
But on the first date, do something so out of the rule,
Character.
the
Yeah.
martini moment. I was
Yeah.
like, that's it, you're done. I'm sorry, I gotta go. Bye. Thank you very much.
I mean, but hey, just look at it this way. She did you a favor. You didn't waste
Right.
any more
Absolutely,
time.
That's
absolutely.
right.
You
Yeah,
didn't waste
and
any more
that whole
time.
thing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying he didn't waste any more time.
Right.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And that whole saying of know thyself, I feel like that's so important in dating, right? Because like you're talking about, you could talk yourself out of that martini moment. Oh, it's not that bad or whatever. And it's like when you really are clear on who you are and, that's very different than like writing a memo to the universe and saying this package needs to arrive looking like this, that, and the other. I think those are those moments of truth where you're like, this is not okay with me. Like this is not going to work. So I'm going to just step away, like step away from, the table because it's just not going to happen.
Right.
And I have to just say quickly, when I first met Javi, because we met in our early 30s and he had like this whole interview. Okay. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like and he was like asking me all this stuff. Like one of it was like, I love this question. It was like, so do you have any of your exes in your phone right now? Like their numbers or whatever? And I was like, no, because I didn't. And he goes, okay, I'm just checking. And then he's like, do you have any of those like secret baggage relationships? And he was like, going like, the ones that's like the last luggage on the turn, like it's around, keeps coming back. And I'm like, no. But it was so great because I think for me, it was like, I wanted to be totally transparent up front. And here's this man. And so all I had to do was flip it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I said, well, how about you? And how about you? You know what I mean? And so, right. And it was this blessing because I didn't feel like neither of us had to tiptoe around anything.
And that's great. That's how relationships should be. The communication should be open and honest. But for some reason, people have a hard time with that sometimes. And I just don't know why. Even as even as you get older, you would think that after 35 maybe people get more clear about who they are and what they want. Maybe you're not at the pinnacle of your career yet,
Right.
but you are somewhere. But no, people still are like telling lies, or I'm not all the way married. I don't know what that is, but stuff like that. So if you are very lucky to have a man who asked you all the right questions.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I think that question, going back to that comment about I'm not all the way married, that means maybe they gained some weight and they took their wedding bands off, or they need to do something. No, it's very interesting. I was talking to this matchmaker, professional matchmaker. He mentioned that there is now the theme is I'm dating multiple people, and
And that's how it is.
and that's how it is. And he will talk to clients where they will get like 10, 15 text messages about the dates they were having, and they were like fully booked. I'm fully booked for the weekend. And
dating like it's a job.
And I'm thinking, wow, that's so interesting. So how are you gonna create the trust? How are you gonna be vulnerable to that person? How are you gonna invest time? How are you gonna be curious? How are you gonna be intimate? I mean, is it like really 10 people at a time? And then yeah.
He's not interested.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Like I said, dating like a job. It's just like it is what it is. It's nothing more, right? It's not really to go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
It's just like in that moment.
Let's just hope that he's being honest with the women he's dating.
That's right. That's right.
That's
yeah.
right.
That's the call for integrity, right? So that
Exactly.
if that is what your behavior is going to be, you own it and you communicate it so that everyone is on the same page from the get-go.
That is not too much to ask if it's somebody who's doing that. I'm all for doing whatever it is that makes you happy. But if you're involving other people and if their emotions are involved, the least you can do is be honest.
Right. Yeah. And I think that actually, to me, is almost like the maturity milestone of an adult. Do you know what I mean? Like, because we've talked to some couples, and I thought this was really interesting. One of the couples said, dating is not for children. No. And I was like, that is very true. I just didn't think of it, in that way. And
I just thought of all the children I've dated.
Yes, they should not have been dating, clearly, right?
Yeah.
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 I agree with that.
There is a Christian movie called The Courtship, and the movie talks about this younger couple, and they decide to do a formal courtship and all the elements that involve that. And it was very interesting because a lot of people were like, oh man, that's so weird.
That's so corny.
The guy opened the door of the car. He's waiting for her with flowers. He's polite. He wants to, he's
weird.
Yeah. And people were like, wow, this is kind of, and I'm thinking, well, that's beautiful. It's like Christina said, dating is not for children. You want to be fully, because it's a beautiful,
gotta get it together, man.
Dating is a courtship is a beautiful
Chivalry
thing.
is not dead.
I agree. Right. I agree. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be an assault on your ability, like you said in the beginning, around being perceived as an equal. I love, obviously there's so much honoring and remembering and mourning Ruth Bader Ginsburg right now. She just passed. And she makes this comment about how she was graced in life to marry a man who did not treat her like a second-class citizen. And I thought that was so beautiful because he was her, champion. He was very supportive of her, and she credited him a lot in terms of that support and how she excelled in her life. But I think that's so true, is like, that is to me real chivalry. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that is beautiful chivalry. When you really want the best for your spouse and partner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And why wouldn't you,
Right. Well, unless you're a child. There you go.
Exactly.
So what advice? I mean, your book is full of advice, but we live in, like you said, we live in this strange and difficult times.
Yeah, and COVID.
So what is the advice that you will give to the single folks, single people out there?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess right now I would say take your time. There are still options, if you live in a place where you can actually still meet people, I would highly suggest meet and have a conversation over coffee. It doesn't have to be a lot of pressure. You have to, my motto is to date with the intent of making a friend. And I think that if you just take out all of the other stuff that, makes up a relationship and just look for a friend in somebody, then it kind of takes away all of the pressure to be in a relationship. And guess what? You're going to attract people and things that allow you to have that kind of relationship. So the most advice that I would get is take your time, be true to yourself, and love on yourself. It's a hard time right now. Be good to yourself first.
That's beautiful.
Absolutely. That's so beautiful. So thank you. You've given us so much good advice.
Yeah, I got
for
some stuff to chew on.
So where people can find you?
You can follow me on Instagram at LL Walton Arthur. My podcast, the Relationship Talk podcast, is available on all platforms. And see, that's pretty much it. I don't use too many outlets. I post also on FB, LL Walton. You can find me. And that's pretty much it. I look forward to you guys listening and
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to check out your books, especially the new one.
Coming out.
Books are available now on Amazon.com and Kindle. Please don't date me. 100 Reasons Why. Volume 1 and 2.
Excellent. And what we will do for everyone watching us, we will post all the info on our comments as well, so you can reach out and listen to LL podcast and also purchase the book. I know your book.
And there's more than one book.
More than one.
Yes.
There's a lot of good stuff over there, and they can definitely you're available in Amazon as well.
Because I think it's the perfect reading for COVID. To, like you said, love on yourself, take your time, turn this around as an opportunity to get right with yourself and not buy into any rush or false urgency around having to be in a relationship. This is an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Right. Excellent.
Well, thank you so much. I really had fun with you guys today.
Thank you. Just 1 minute there before we wrap it up. And I just want to thank the audience who's watching us. We are a nonprofit ministry, and we love for you to buy us coffee from the bottom of your heart, right? If you don't feel like you want to buy us coffee, then don't.
It's okay.
Don't buy us coffee. Just keep watching us. And we want to thank you for watching it, and thank you. Our amazing guest today, LL. And also, if you want to check us out, we are in Facebook and also in our YouTube channel, so you can watch it as well.
Yeah, subscribe, check it out.
Yes. So thank you.
Thank you, LL.
And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.